Hey everybody! So, as I've mentioned before, I'm currently doing my master's degree, and I'm doing it in English literature, and it is so time consuming that I've been having like a legitimate struggle trying to juggle my master's degree, being a teacher and having a teaching assistant job, and making stuff online. So yesterday on an Instagram poll, I was about to say a Twitter poll, but an Instagram poll, I asked you guys if you would be okay for the next few weeks while I'm kind of in finals. I have so much marking to do, so many essays to write, like, it's just an insane amount of work right now. If for the next few weeks you would be okay with me kind of doing sit-down chatty videos as opposed to more kind of inventive things, which frustrates me, you know, because I do enjoy chatty videos, but I really love making kind of these inventive videos. I like trying to challenge myself to do something cool, but right now I literally can't, and so I asked you if you'd be okay with that, and literally like 97% of you, and there was like 3,000 people that voted, said that you would be totally fine with it. And I was just like, thank you, I needed that. I needed that release. I needed to kind of feel like you would all be okay with this kind of video. And actually I've been inspired to do it because of a booktuber called Mercy, and her channel name is Mercy's Bookish Musings. I really think that's it. I'm gonna link her down below. She does these videos and I adore them. They're really long, casual, a little bit rambly, and it's just like a conversation. And I love putting them on while I'm getting ready, or like cleaning my room, or just doing something like playing a video game. Like, I love just having it around. So that's kind of my hope for this video. We'll see how it goes. If we all feel good about it, I'll make more of these throughout the next coming weeks as I struggle to get to the end of this semester. So this semester I'm taking 3 courses. Next semester I'm only taking 2 because I also have to write the proposal for my thesis. And then in the summer semester I make my thesis. So I'm on a 1-year master's, which is like a very fast-tracked, speedy version of a master's, and I'm super glad to be doing it because, like I mentioned, I am really enjoying my master's. I've met really interesting people. I honestly feel that I'm learning like the exact same amount about English than I did in 4 years of an undergrad. Like, the learning curve is intense. I do feel like it's challenging me. I feel like I'm making steps forward, but I really don't like the political climate of academia. I don't like the bureaucracy of it. I don't like the culture of it. So I'm kind of struggling. Like, one of the things, this is not even the topic of this video, but hell, we'll just go with it. One of the things that I'm really struggling with is masters are really small. Like, there's 12 other master's students at my university in the English department. And this is a big university, you know, it's not like a small private university. It's a big it's the University of Ottawa. It's a big one. I don't know how many people are in it, but it's, you know, tens of thousands. And there's only 12 of us. So I have a class where there's only 4 of us. I have another class, because also some of the PhD students take the classes with us. And so I have a class that has like 15 people, one class that has 10 people, and then one class that has 4 people. It's so small, and in a lot of ways it's amazing. Like, it is so incredible to have such a small class size, because it means that we can have these really intimate, interesting discussions. There's no like real need to like raise your hand anymore because there's 4 of us. You know, we're just kind of talking about these ideas. So that's been incredible, and also it does feel like you have more time to talk to the professor, more time for individual learning. However, the struggle I've been having is this idea that there's only 12 of us. Like, most of the people in this master's program, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but most of the people in this master's program want to go on into academia. They want to then go on to do a PhD, then go on to be a professor and do research. And all well and good, a great goal. I think that's a great goal. But it's so insular. Like, I sit in this class and I'm like, we are learning such interesting things. We're learning about such fascinating topics. and only 12 people are here to hear it. Whereas I could be making a video that tens of thousands of people are going to watch and learn from. And I just really struggle with this idea of learning and keeping all of that knowledge in a university where only a few hundred people will ever get to know it, and then having a YouTube channel, excuse me, where I think I'm getting a cold. Having a YouTube channel about literature where I can share these ideas and I can make these videos that affect tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands. Like, my channel has millions of overall views, right? Like, millions of people are getting this content for free. And so to me, I don't know, I struggle. I sit in the class and I'm like, this is cool. We should all make videos about this and share what we've learned. like I don't want to keep it in the classroom. I want to just share it with everyone. So it has really been making me think a lot about, like, once I finish this master's degree, I'm dead set on not going back to school. I'm very, very grateful that I've gotten the opportunity to do this master's. I think I would have for the rest of my life regretted it if I hadn't, because it is this, like, it's such a huge opportunity. Not to say that it was, like, completely lucky, right? I got funded for this master's because I had my undergrad with distinction. Like, I worked really hard in my undergrad to get really good grades that then made me get into this master's program, right? Like, there was hard work involved, but I also know that there's privilege involved in it. And I know I would have always resented myself and regretted it had I not done it. But it's also really taught me, like, wow, okay, yeah, Ariel, we do not want to work in academia. We respect it, and we're grateful to academia for all that it's taught me. But I am much more on the team of sharing your information online, making it free. Like, just share it with the people. So anyway, after this year is over, I'm telling you, I think I'm getting a cold. After this year is over, I do plan on, like, launching my career, which my career will be basically what you've already seen me doing, just on a bigger scale, because the stakes will be higher, because I need to, like, make a living from it, but also I want to make stuff that I'm really proud of. And so there's kind of three things. One of them is a secret, because it's not developed enough yet for me to share it, but the two things, the main things, are, one, becoming an author. I want to spend my time writing books that positively affect the world, and whether that's through entertainment or political writing, or a mixture of both. Animal Farm, I think, married those two ideas very well. If any way that I'm doing it, I just want to make books that lots of people read, that change the world to be a better place. And secondly, I want to make interesting, thought-compelling, entertaining videos about books, and about all facets of books, like I've always done. But I want to take them to a whole new level. And so, actually, what I'm doing for my master's thesis, it's a major research project, because it's a one-year program. It's called a major research project as opposed to a thesis, but I say thesis because that's the term that everyone knows. Instead of doing an essay, I'm doing a documentary, and I'm so excited about this, but like, because it's an English department, no one has ever done a documentary before, so the department is kind of flailing. I was like, hello, I would not like to do an essay, I would like to do a documentary. And they're like, wow, that sounds cool. And they're like, wait, what? We don't know how to, what? And they're freaking out, but they're gonna let me do it, which is amazing. So this documentary is really gonna show me, like, how to make content that really steps it up. Like, it's gonna be long, it's gonna be detailed, there's gonna be interviews, it's gonna be a whole thing. And so I'm really excited to do that, because I think it's gonna really teach me coming forward what my videos are gonna be like. But also, as I was saying, I think it's really gonna, it has already. This master's program has shown me that I want to make more educational videos. You see, that sounds boring. I don't want them to feel like clicking on an e-course. I don't want them to feel like, okay, well, now I want to learn, so I guess I'll click this. No, I want them to be fun and entertaining and fun, like chatty, random, but also to share these ideas that we all talk about in English, like in English undergrads and master's degree, terms like aestheticism, decadence, postmodernism, talking about a lot of the critics that we always talk about in, like, I don't know, in feminists, we're always talking about Judith Butler and stuff like that. Like, I want to make videos about these things, and I don't know when that will happen or how it will happen, in what form that will take, but it is just an idea that I've been having in this in this master's degree, because I do really struggle with this idea of, like, keeping education. The constant term that people use is keeping it in that ivory tower, right? Keeping education as this elite thing that only a few people are allowed to have. And I'm like, nah, let's just make videos and tell everyone for free. They don't have to pay. We can just tell them. Which really goes against kind of what the Masters is about, because it does feel to me very like, oh, let's keep our ideas to ourselves. So the thing I wanted to talk about in this video was, like, competitive reading, because I've been having, like, if I'm having a hard time juggling school, teaching, and this, then I obviously have had no time for reading, and I wanted to talk about that, but I think I've gone on way too long about my master's program that I'm gonna save that for another day. So if we like this video, this kind of chatty video, please let me know in the comments. It would mean a lot to me to just hear that this is valuable to you, you find this entertaining, and I will make a video about how reading can become a competitive activity full of prestige and intimidation. Not always, and I do think you have to kind of decide to enter the sphere of competitive reading, but I think it actually becomes a natural part of BookTube, just naturally by the fact that we're always saying how many books we read in a month in our wrap-ups, or talking about how many books we read in the year, or talking about our yearly reading goals and stuff like that. Like, it naturally becomes a numbers game, and I find that really intimidating. So I wanted to make a video about that, but I think I should just keep talking about Masters for a little while, because there was just one more thing I wanted to mention, and it's my teaching assistantship. Yeah, I could also make another whole video about this, because it's super fascinating, and I think I will actually. At the end of my master's, I already have a few videos planned, so that you'll be getting sometime in August of 2018. I want to make a few, like, reflective videos, reflecting on what an English Masters is like, should you do an English Masters, what is the point of it, but also talking about like being a teaching assistant and working on a final project. Like, videos like that I think are really interesting. And what I found when I was applying to my master's was I did not know what I was getting into. Like, the only real information that I got about it was from other friends who had done it. You know, I'm really fortunate to have had my best friend Jacqueline. She had, like, I took a year off after my undergrad. She went straight into master's, and because of that, she was telling me what was happening all of the time. And I have another friend, Jason. God bless Jason. He has a YouTube channel, which I'll link down below. He was also just on my podcast, my new book podcast, so I'll also link that down below. Please listen to it. It was so good. But he's also currently doing his master's, and he's doing a 2 years master's. So he's in the second year. So during his first year, he was also telling me about it. And so that's where I learned my information, but I really didn't understand what it was and what I was really getting into. I just kind of knew, like, okay, I'm going to another type of schooling. It's going to be slightly different. I think there's going to be less people in it, but I didn't really know. So I want to make some videos that really clarify for people, like, what it is and what you're getting into. I do wish I could make them, like, sooner, because I know people will be applying-ish, like, now-ish. But I want to make an educated video where I have actually completed the master's and have time to reflect on it before I start spewing my ideas, because who knows what'll happen next semester, right? And in the semester where I don't have any classes and I'm just working on my project. But just real quick, so basically, when you get accepted as a master's student, usually, and this is like 90% of the time, like, usually you also get hired as a teaching assistant. And this is for a few reasons. One, it pays your degree. So basically, I I don't know how much a master's costs because a huge part of it was taken up by my scholarship, and then the rest of it is paid for by my being a teaching assistant. So at the beginning of the semester, I owed a certain amount of money to the university. I paid it, which sucked because it was a lot of money. I paid it, and now every month I get paid from my teaching assistantship, so it's paid itself off now. And the other reason is because most people that do a master's are going on to do a PhD and are going on to be professors. So what you need is teaching experience. You need to know how to teach, because teaching is a huge part of grad school and of being a professor and a researcher at a university. So it's giving these people who are probably going to go on to continue in academia the skills to teach. And the other thing is that, like, they need cheap employment, right? Like, hiring a university professor is super expensive, and, like, especially if they are prestigious. And for these classes, that all they need is, like, someone who's competent and capable to teach a first-year grammar course. They don't need to hire an entire, like, new professor. They can just hire a bunch of master's students. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm teaching Grammar 1100. And every Monday I teach a class. And, like, this was one of the things I didn't know going into it. Like, how much of a teacher am I really? I'm a teacher. Like, so the way it works, and this is, again, I want to make a video about this because I didn't know how much of my time was going to be taken up by being a teacher, and it's a significant portion. It's a significant portion of my time. So every Wednesday, don't know why you need to know the day, but you do. Every Wednesday, and that's today, and I have to leave, and, like, I'm not wearing a watch, but I do have to leave, like, in an hour to go to it. But every Wednesday, we have the lecture. The lecture is run by the professor. My cat is meowing. The lecture is run by my professor. The professor teaches the class, and I sit in the audience with the students, and we learn about, let's say, thesis statements. We learn about thesis statements for an hour and a half. Then, on Monday following, I run a workshop about thesis statements. So I will do another mini lecture, and then I'll work us through a lesson, and I'll say, like, okay, let's talk about thesis statements. Let's make some thesis statements. What do you think a thesis statement is? What do you think? What do we shoot? And I, like, literally stand at the front of the class and I teach a class for an hour and a half. And then they periodically hand in assignments. They give them to me. I bring them home and I mark them. Like, that's literally what I was doing last night. And it's really interesting. I like teaching a lot. And I really like public speaking. I've always enjoyed public speaking. I find it really fun to teach people stuff, you know, and I will admit right off the bat, I was hesitant to teach grammar. I don't really know grammar. Like, what I've realized now is that I do know grammar. Just by being an English major, you kind of osmosis, you just kind of, like, gather the grammar knowledge because you have to write good essays all of the time. And so good grammar just kind of comes along with that. And with just a little bit of reading, I've been like, oh yeah, I do know what subject-verb agreement is. I do know these things. I just didn't know the word for those things. But I was really nervous, like, I was so nervous that someone would be like, Professor, I'm not a professor, I'm just kidding, Ms. Bissett, why is there a comma there? And I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. But it hasn't been like that at all. I've really enjoyed teaching, and the reason that they have master's students teaching this course, I find this super fascinating. It's called a service course, because all my students are not English students. They're science students, social science students, like engineers, nurses, all of these sciencey people that have to take this grammar course to graduate from university. So they take it in their first year to kind of help them to how to write an essay so that they can write good essays for their other courses that aren't going to teach them how to write an essay. And it's called a service course because it's kind of like the English department is doing a service for the rest of the university. I find that so fascinating. So anyway, I'm teaching this course and I had an existential crisis the other day because of marking. I hate it. I really hate it. So like, while I actually do really enjoy the act of teaching, that I find really fun, I absolutely and completely detest marking papers. Not because it's boring. It's not. It's actually interesting. It's interesting to see people's ideas in an essay and stuff. And it's not because it's hard. I don't find it that hard. You know, like, it's not easy necessarily, but you know, you pick up a pace, you're going. It's because it's brutally devastating when you've got to give someone a bad mark. And like, I'm being so generous because I'm like, you know, I just don't want to be the reason that someone is super depressed at night or doesn't get a scholarship or something. And like, I know none of it is this high stakes, but if someone does a bad essay, I can't give you a good mark. And so I have to write 65, 60. Or if you don't understand subject-verb agreement and you get nothing on that section of the test, you get a 55, right? Like, it's out of my control. Basically, it's out of my control. I'm not going to give you a fake high mark because it wouldn't be fair to the people that did really do well on the test. And it wouldn't be fair because you wouldn't be learning anything. So anyway, I've really been struggling with this marking thing. I hate it. I detest it. And it's really made me be like, no, I never want to be a teacher. I don't want to mark people. I don't want to, because now that I know my students, it does feel like I'm judging them. I don't understand how teachers do it. And my mom was like, this must really give you a new understanding of like how hard it must be to be a teacher. And I'm like, no, all it's made me do is really be more angry at mean teachers because I don't understand how a teacher can be mean. And I've had mean teachers before, you know, I've had teachers who are really snotty, or I've had teachers who, like, I'm not just talking in university, like high school and grade school too. I've had teachers that give people low marks for no reason. And I don't get how they can do that. Now that I'm actually like marking, I'm like, I don't understand what kind of a soul could do that. Because it's heartbreaking. But hey, I'm just an inexperienced person who's literally been teaching for 2 months, so take all of this with a grain of salt. I'm definitely going to end this video now, because I didn't think that I was going to talk for this long, but please, down in the comments, let me know, A, if you're doing a master's or thinking about doing a master's, what your experiences have been and stuff like that. But also, it would be really great to hear, do you like this kind of video? If you don't, I'll stop doing it. Or I'll keep doing it and you can, I'll like understand that it'll get less views. Or secondly, if you do like this kind of video, please let me know and encourage me to make them, because I will make them if you like them. Yeah. So I really hope that you're all doing well. I'm so excited for Christmas break. Taking 3 courses is just a bit too much. I didn't even talk about the reading load. Like, every single class has me reading either a novel or a play every week, and at least 2 articles per week. So I'm like, I'm supposed to be reading like 1,000 pages a week or more, and I'm melting. 3 courses is too much, but I'm so excited for the Christmas break, and then to have like this, like a new semester with only 2 courses. I'm so excited. But yes, I'm also super excited because I'm going to London. Yes, I'm going to London for a few weeks before Christmas time. I'm so glad about it. I love traveling so much, and my master's is like, nope, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck. I'm like, okay. Anyway, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.